Good day, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. So the fighting continues inside of the former state of Ethiopia. Well, I won't call it the former state just yet, but it seems to be again deteriorating to that sort of condition in terms of what it was and what it is now. But the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue to make significant progress in their south and southwesterly advance towards an objective that is still unknown but could possibly be the capital, Addis Ababa. It could also be an operation designed to eventually seize Gondar, or possibly a more limited operation with the goal of seizing Debark and then obviously Woldia. Well, we can say that it sounds like from events on the ground that the strategy that led to the fall of Kobo is being utilized in and around Woldia. And it would appear that Woldia is being sealed off by the TDF, or being preparing to be sealed off and then taken by the TDF. So as we saw in Kobo, the TDF will move to outflank the city, both east, west, and south, and then basically demand capitulation. And we have heard reports that there have been significant engagements in the vicinity of Woldia, north of Woldia, possibly on the outskirts of Woldia. We have heard reports that the Ethiopian state, the Ethiopian army, has moved in some more elite units such as Presidential Guard, Republican Guard. Those are both of the same sort. Possibly commando units to shore up the remnants of the Ethiopian army, and these militia units that are engaging the TDF. The Amhara militias and the other regional militia units that are being pressed into service are really not doing well against the TDF. They really are lacking any sort of military training, whereas the TDF has been fighting a fairly intense war for the last half year. And that is starting to show itself on the battlefield, especially when the TDF engages these lesser trained units of the Ethiopian army and militia units allied to the Ethiopian Prosperity Party, or the Ethiopian state. But there has been reports of fairly significant fighting in and around Woldia, to the north of Woldia, and again, these are earlier reports which would state that again, the Ethiopian army, these units that were moved in to prop up these militias, have sustained fairly significant casualties, and we could be on the precipice of seeing the fall of Woldia. And it would appear that Woldia was going to be one of the last major stands to prevent a further movement of the TDF southwest, quite possibly towards Addis Ababa. Now, please understand, obviously, as a bird flies, Addis Ababa is about 200 miles away from Woldia, so that is still a significant distance that the Tigrayan Defense Forces would have to move in order to be on the outskirts of Addis Ababa. And Addis Ababa is also a very large metropolitan city, and this could, in fact, stretch the TDF supply lines, and then obviously the TDF is conducting foraging operations and supplying itself as it goes, out of necessity. Is a seizure of Addis Ababa out of the question? Absolutely not. I think there is definitely a probability that it could occur, especially the way the Ethiopian army is performing, the way it was mauled inside of the Tigray region, and quite frankly, it has just fallen apart. And we can see that the Ethiopian state is relying more and more on untrained militia units being pressed into service, and unfortunately, that is not working well for the Ethiopian state, the Ethiopian army. And I would assume, unless attrition starts to play a role in the advance of the TDF, that we will continue to see defeats in this move south by the Tigrayan Defense Forces. In the west, it would appear that there is also a move towards Debark, um, and we could see that city fall within quite possibly the next several days. Obviously, very significant terrain features, mountain ranges protect that area, or the movement into that area, the access of advance is fairly obstructed by terrain, but that has not really stopped the Tigrayan Defense Forces in the past. And again, the real concern is the cohesion of the Ethiopian army and these militia units to put up a resistance to this TDF advance. And again, we're just not seeing that take place. They do not appear to be wanting to have extended engagements, and when they do take casualties, they seem to be fleeing. And I'm referring again to these militia units. And then obviously the Ethiopian army has sustained tremendous casualties and is just frankly worn out from its half-year attempted occupation of the Tigray region, where it continued to continuously sustain casualties. And it is just a broken force. There's quite possibly political infighting occurring, tremendous corruption, tremendous paranoia between the Ethiopian state intelligence services and the Ethiopian army, which is causing the Ethiopian military apparatus to dissolve. And I would expect that to continue. We see reports that the Ethiopian state is conducting what they define as rallies to encourage enlistment, but unfortunately, rallies do not or are not a means to proper military recruitment, and really do not serve to help stand up an army. Rallies do not do that. You have to have a process of recruiting, training, supply, and good leadership with high morale. Rallies give the appearance of high morale, especially if some of those folks are paid to attend rallies. Now, on the surface, that looks great, but as you dive deeper, really these rallies are not going to provide a state with significant military combat power, unfortunately, for Ethiopia. And again, the military apparatus, and you can see in what it's doing and how it's conducting itself, just doesn't really know what to do. I think options for the Ethiopian state right now would possibly be external forces. Obviously, Ethiopia has tremendous resources and could look to obtain the services of Russian paramilitary such as Wagner and other groups. We do understand that Russia and Ethiopia are having security discussions. Could we see these Russian units move in, these irregular Russian units, and could they have an impact on forces on the ground? Possibly. They could. But will we see that any more than in terms of some sort of local VIP protection? I don't know. That's to remain to be seen. I've been asked, is Wagner on the ground? Possibly, or other contract units on the ground? Possibly, especially helping to facilitate to keep the Ethiopian Air Force running, and then possibly the acquisition of pilots to fly some of these aircraft as well in some cases. But that is what is occurring on the ground right now. Again, just a complete and utter collapse of the Ethiopian army as it flees south and is not appearing to have the will to fight the TDF at this point. We could be on the verge of seeing Woldia fall if, in fact, it has not already fallen. It's very possible that that could be in the process of occurring, and I've heard that as well. And then obviously there continues to be the move in the west, quite possibly towards Gondar. But the strategic situation is horrific for the Ethiopian state, as is the tactical situation. Tactical defeats, which occurred inside of the Tigray region, led to strategic defeats. You just can't keep taking the kind of casualties and lose the type of morale that the Ethiopian army has lost and continue to fight. That's all I have now. I bid you good day.